Board of Education meeting. We are glad to have you all here tonight. We're going to start tonight by the Pledge of Allegiance given to us by Rachael Shah, a sixth grader at Mark Twain Elementary School. Rachel, would you like to step up and bring the mic down? Okay.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you so much. What? No, I don't. I would like to tell you a little bit about Rachael. Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance ambassador is Mark Twain Elementary School student Rachael Shah. Rachael is the daughter of Dr. Jason Shaw and Jennifer Shaw. She has two sisters and one brother. Rachael has attended Mark Twain since kindergarten. As a kindergarten student, Rachael heard about student council and has always wanted to participate. This school year, she is president of the student council. Very good. She enjoys working with the student council, raising funds by recycling to beautify the Mark Twain campus with new flowers and plants annually. Due to students' hard work, Mark Twain has won champion and first place awards in the Keep Riverside Clean and Beautiful competition. In her spare time, Rachael enjoys soccer and piano, and she plans to attend Brigham Young University for her bachelor's degree. She would like to be a part-time nurse and a full-time mom. Good aspirations. And I've got something for you, Rachael.
I have my mom and my sister and my principal, Miss Aha, and Miss Ferris, my vice principal.
Before we have our performance, I would like to report out on closed session. Dr. Hansen has two announcements to make.
Thank you, Madam President Allavie. In closed session, the board did take action to hire a new assistant director of pupil services. And as I read his information, if he'd please stand, maybe come down in the front so we can see. Dr. Gary McGuire has been selected as the Assistant Director for Pupil Services. Gary started his teaching career in 1978 as a full-time teacher in Glendora, teaching 7th and 8th grade science and band. He has also taught in the Chino, Ontario, Montclair, where he became an assistant principal and a longtime principal in Chino Unified School District. For 4 years, he was also the Associate Dean of Educational Leadership at Point Loma Nazarene University. Most recently, Dr. McGuire comes to us by way of Temple Unified School District, where he currently is serving as the Director of Curriculum Instruction, Pupil Services, Data and Assessment, Homeless, Foster Youth Suspension, and the list goes on. And he also is the Uniform Complaint Officer for Temple City. Dr. McGuire holds a Bachelor's of Music and a Master's in Education and has received his doctorate from the University of La Verne. And we congratulate you, Gary, and welcome to Riverside Unified. In addition is Mark Carabito here. And if Mark, could you please stand and come on down? Mark has been hired. He is Riverside Unified employee. He's recently been hired as our network specialist, where he'll be providing support to our ESD in the areas of network services and service support. Mark was hired from within Riverside and has been working for the district for almost 10 years as a help desk analyst. In his previous position, Mark demonstrated great skills in troubleshooting server issues, and he has an outstanding customer service approach. And Mark will be now joining the network support team in technology services. So Mark, congratulations to you.
Congratulations. And now we have quite a treat, the Riverside Polytechnic High School Poly Strings Ensemble. I think you call it the Muse Club, is that it? Under the direction of Bob Haberator, would like to perform. Would you like to let everyone know what they're performing?
Sure.
Very ambitious and beautiful. Thank you so much. That was really wonderful. All right, now we are to the point of a presentation, a certification of appreciation. Mr. Antonio Garcia, please.
Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. Riverside Police Department has requested time on the agenda to acknowledge one of our employees, Jaime Ochoa. I'd like to invite Officer Ryan Railsback, and I believe Chief Sergio Diaz from RPD is also here with us. So
Wonderful.
They can come on up.
Welcome.
Good evening, members of the school board. Thank you for giving us the time today. Want to honor one of your fine workers with the Riverside Unified School District today. He's been a part of us for a few years now. If you're not aware, the Riverside Police Department since late 2011 has a juvenile intervention program called Project O, Opportunity with Education. One of the main components of that program is PE, or physical fitness, at the end of each Saturday. Our program's a 14-week program on Saturdays, not only for these teens, but also for their parents. Their parents have to attend if the kids are gonna be part of our program. So we run this program twice a year, 14 weeks, so almost half a year that we're doing it. And the very last hour, hour and a half of each Saturday, or most of these Saturdays, is some type of physical fitness. Luckily for me, as the coordinator, I have Jaime Ochoa to do that for me. And I'm just kind of summarizing what we have written on our citizen commendation. But since February 2012, Jaime Ochoa has been an invaluable part of the Riverside Police Department's O program. And as I explained, physical fitness is an integral component of the 14-week program. Each Saturday fitness activity varies from football, baseball, basketball, judo, martial arts, boxing, and Jaime has organized all of this for us for each week. Because of this, it has allowed youth from not only RUSD, Alvord, and outside of the city of Riverside, those school districts, kids to experience and be exposed to different activities that they may never have even thought of. So we greatly appreciate Jaime's contribution is just not to the physical fitness, though, because he's very good at what he does as a dropout and retention specialist with the district. He's coming across these parents and their teens and their families who are having some trouble, some challenges. So because he is so aware of our program and how we work and the philosophies behind it, he's able to refer parents directly to us. And so because of that, he's helped these parents and their families make some more positive changes and kind of rebuild that family unit, which is the main goal of the O program. So with that, I'd like to introduce Chief Diaz to also give a few comments.
Thank you, Mrs. Allavie, members of the board, Superintendent. We're very pleased to be here to recognize Jaime, but if you'll allow us, we'd also want to tell you how proud we are of our association with the district in general. You know, we have a number of different programs with various schools, and we truly value and enjoy the partnership with the Riverside Unified School District. A couple of things about the O program that you should know. We're doing a thing that hadn't been offered before. There's a huge demand for in terms of diverting children who are starting to flirt with criminality and antisocial behavior, giving them another opportunity. There are scarce few resources for that, and because the bulk of the personnel that help with the O program are volunteers such as Jaime, we're really doing it at very, very little cost to the taxpayers. So we're doubly proud of that. But again, I wanted to thank you for your continued support of the police department and of our various partnerships.
Thank you so much. So Jaime, come forward.
Ms. Allavie, board, superintendent, thank you. Thank all my leaders here for giving me the opportunity to do what I do, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to continue doing the best I can for this district.
Thank you very much. And now, Mr. Garcia, another presentation.
Yeah, another presentation. You know, I'm very, very pleased to introduce a couple of folks to you this evening. Over the years, the Latino Network here in Riverside has been a champion for education and for Riverside Unified School District students and our organization. And recently, they afforded several of our students from across several high schools a wonderful opportunity that they've been actually doing for several years, and had them participate in an event in Los Angeles through the H.O.P.E organization. I'd like to invite Marisa Yeager, who's the chair of the Youth Leadership Development Committee for the Latino Network, to explain the program, and we'll hear from some of the students that participated as well.
Great. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President and fellow board members and Superintendent Hansen. Thank you very much for having us. It's been always a pleasure. And we'd like to tonight share with you a little bit about this year's experience. Riverside Latino Network has been a partner, community affiliate with H.O.P.E since 1999. And we formally have been participating with the Latina History Day conference that started in 1991, but we started in 2000. So in 2001, we started bringing more and more of Riverside's youth along with us to the annual Latina History Day. And so with the presentation, if you go to the next slide, it'll give you just a little summary. This year, we actually, had schools Ramona, Poly, North, Arlington, and Norte Vista join us this year. For the H.O.P.E Leadership Institute, we actually have 8 women that have gone through the program for the last 8 years. So it's usually either one young professional or 2. And through the Youth Leadership program that started in 2004, we actually we have Norte Vista High School that's participating this year, and that is a 6-month program. And last but not least, Latino Network will be having its Latino Leadership Institute starting this fall, and that involves both high school and then first-year community college, but mostly high school students. So that'll be a month program. So want to thank you formally for those school board members and Superintendent Hansen who have supported this program this year. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Lock-Dawson and President Allavie and Superintendent. Without your personnel, principals, counselors, and teachers, as well as the parents who are here, this wouldn't have happened. It takes a true partnership. So thank you very much for that. And last but not least, I would like to bring up Brenda, who would like to provide some remarks regarding the experience. So Brenda.
Okay. Hi, my name is Brenda, and I am here on behalf of Ramona High School. I am here with my fellow classmates, Vicky Lopez and Diana Paleo. So here at the H.O.P.E conference, we were going on the train at 5 in the morning to Los Angeles, where we took the subway, and we went to the Biltmore Hotel, and we had a lovely breakfast. They had finger food, and then they spoke about a lot of different things that people from our background did, and it was amazing to see that people can come up from nothing, and they were there to show us that, and that was truly amazing. As we see on the board, we see the amount of people that attended. There was a lot of people there, and it was very fancy, very nice. Throughout the day, we had a lot of speakers. One of my favorite ones was she worked for NASA, and she was speaking about how she came up from Mexico, where there was the poorest of cities, and she ultimately worked for NASA, which is incredible. A lot of really inspirational women were there. Also, we had a couple of congresswomen and men that spoke at the meeting. We had an award-winning publicist and social media expert, Amy Zubizarreta. Sorry if I didn't say it right. But we also had a famous anchor and reporter. Her name was Elsa Ramon. She did an amazing job of introducing everybody that was there. Okay. Personally, I thought this was amazing. I didn't know that if you weren't in a particular popular program that you could experience things like this. And I know, speaking on behalf of my fellow classmates, we also thought that this was an amazing opportunity, and we were very grateful to be able to experience this along with everyone else that went. We felt very grateful that everybody who went to show us that we come from a rich background and we can aspire to be what we want to be. Thank you.
Very good.
Good evening, Ms. Allavie, Dr. Hansen, and members of the board. My name is Yuridia Avila. I am a junior at Poly High School. I attended the H.O.P.E conference with Ruth Lopez, Gabby Ortiz, and our counselor, Ms. Miller. Sonia Nazario shared her journey when she retraced the steps with a Guatemalan man who, as a child, traveled alone to the United States in search of his mother so he could be reunited with her. To say that her story allowed us to know what it was like to walk in that man's shoes as a child is an understatement. The courage and strength to never give up was a valuable lesson that we will always keep with us through Sonia's experience. Girls Inc. provided a financial aid workshop and a seminar on healthy relationships. They shared what it takes to have financial wisdom and independence in order to make good decisions when it comes to financial planning and managing money wisely. We have a new perspective on what it takes to plan financially for our future and the importance of reading the fine print for long-term financial planning. We want to thank Marissa Yeager, the Latino Network, and the H.O.P.E conference sponsors for making this possible. It was an amazing experience that we will always look back on. Thank you.
Good evening, school board members. My name is Elena Rosales, and I came with my colleagues Giselle Monzo and Melanie Moreno. And we just want to thank everyone that allowed us to have this experience. On behalf of John W. North High School, through the interactions with the ladies from Latino Network, as well as attending the H.O.P.E Latina History Day, I learned that Latinas should take leading roles in society today. Not many Latinas have this profound opportunity, and therefore we will share our experiences with as many Latinas and motivate them to be an example so that our voice could be heard. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hansen, and board members. My name is Amaris Garcia, and I am a junior at Arlington High School. I am honored to represent my fellow classmates who also attended the H.O.P.E conference. We learned valuable life lessons and skills such as financing techniques, maintaining healthy relationships with the people we work with and interact with, and planning our paths for college and to ensure a successful career and future. We were inspired by Latina authors, scientists, and congresswomen whose message was to take control of our education and our future, and to use our knowledge to inspire others. My fellow classmates and I have taken these lessons to heart and have decided to share this inspiration and knowledge with our fellow students by founding a club at Arlington High School. The purpose of our club will be to empower Latinas and other young ladies to be efficient in school and life in order to achieve their goals and potentially become leaders in society. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Mrs. Marisa Yeager, Darlene Elliott, Patricia Reynolds, Ophelia Valdez Yeager, the H.O.P.E Committee, Latino Network, our valued counselors and teachers, and Riverside Unified School District for sponsoring and supporting this program. And this is a picture of all of us at the Youth Leadership Day. And also today with us, we have a fellow colleague from Norte Vista High School, Kim Castillo. And now that we've all shared our experiences, this is a summary of what we have taken from the H.O.P.E conference. and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
That's great. It sounds so inspirational. Anybody, would you like to make a comment? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you all, young ladies, for speaking and coming out tonight. Ms. Shager, what would it take to put on something like this in our region instead of having to catch the train? I mean, you have Norte Vista here as well, and so obviously Alvare's involved. What's involved?
Bottom line, it takes partnerships. So it would be both community organizations as well as the school district to partner, as well as our higher education institutions. So with this experience, UC Riverside has already stepped up to want to partner, and we will be continuing that dialogue moving forward. But it's something that they definitely want to emulate, as well as the community colleges. So that's what it will take, as well as some funding. So this is definitely for those who we're very limited budget, but we definitely spread the opportunities and the networks appropriately. So some of it is also we appreciate this experience because it also gets the girls out of their neighborhoods, out of their city, to really see what it takes to move around. So we like, at least my day job employer, Metro, appreciates it because it's the first time, as well as Metrolink, it's the first time for a lot of these girls to go and take public transit as well as the commuter rail line. So that also helps to expand that educational experience, in addition to self-development that they go through at the conference.
What was the overall attendance of the cumulative attendance? I know our group.
The conference in downtown Los Angeles is 500 people to 1,000. It just depends on the year.
Thank you.
It's the whole Biltmore that is filled up. So
Thank
that's
you
1,000
and the
people.
Latino Network for doing this. This is wonderful.
That's great.
Thank you.
Mrs. Lock-Dawson?
I've been to the Biltmore. It is fancy. I know. I like it. And I was there when there was a H.O.P.E conference going on down there. It was a couple years back. But I just wanted to make a comment. One, I'm really, really proud of all you guys. That's amazing that you went. Did you enjoy it? You all obviously really felt like you got something out of it. I'm really proud that you took that step and you did it. And just to build on that, I think it was our first speaker who said, you know, the congresswomen, the authors, the women who worked for NASA, that's you. That's not somebody else. That's not like somebody who came from, well, maybe the NASA person came from outer space. I don't know. But that's not like, it's not they were special or something that made them get in there. They started just like you guys. You can be those people. So I want you to just take that, girls, and take that forward and spread that word and let your fellow girls know about that too. This is your first step towards leadership, and I'm very proud of you guys. So good job.
Thank you. That's exactly the right thing to say. So congratulations to all of you for doing that and for succeeding. And thank you, Marissa. That was wonderful. All right. Thank you. We're now going to have our reports by our high school representatives. And let's begin with Martin Luther King High School, Reysha Patel. Oh, yeah.
Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, and honorable members of the board. Last month was a very productive one at King High School. We held our 8th grade parent night, where incoming wolves were able to get a feel of what it's like to be on the King High School campus, and they got to get information about all of the programs we have to offer and the clubs. An estimated 2,500 people attended the event, so it was a really great turnout. Our ASB also held King High School's 3rd annual Mr. KHS event, which is a male beauty pageant and fundraiser. This event acted as a funny way for the student body to attend a school event on a Friday night, and it was a lot of fun. Additionally, ASB elections were held, and with the results, we are confidently able to say that King High School will be in very good hands next year. Last month, King also had our WASC accreditation visit, and everything went very well, and the committee was very impressed with our school culture and just how clean and beautiful the King campus was. Currently, a student on campus, Caitlin Kent, is organizing the Princess Treatment Program. She is encouraging girls to donate gently worn formal dresses so those who cannot afford a dress can still attend prom in a nice gown. She was even featured on ABC News for the amazing work she's doing for our campus and our community, so that was really, really cool. ASB also held the annual Spring Rally on March 25th to honor our spring sports with the theme of Pride of the Pack spirit, and this event was a great way to unify the school body, promote school spirit, and kick off spring break. With prom coming up, the CTE program also put on our annual prom fashion show where students got to strut down the runway in our theater and show off the latest prom fashions. And this event is actually totally planned and implemented by the CTE fashion retail classes on campus. So it's a great way for them to put forward all they've learned so far in the year. And then King High's prom is coming up on April 25th, and it will be at the Los Angeles Center Studios with a theme of James Bond. And lastly, in sports, all of our teams are off to a great start in the always competitive Big 8 League, and we're excited to see where their hard work takes them this season. And it's great to be King. Are there any questions?
That's great. Anybody have any questions?
Thank
you. Good job.
Thank
Good
you.
job. Thank you very much. Representing Abraham Lincoln High School, do we have Paul Booth here today? Thank you, Paul.
Hello and good evening.
Pull your mic up. Yeah, there you
Sorry.
go.
Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. My name is Paul Booth, and I am the alternate student board representative for Abraham Lincoln High School. Now I will share with you some important things happening at Lincoln. On February 27th, students attended a field trip to UCR to learn about the campus and what UCR has to offer regarding classes and activities. The students felt the trip was informative and interesting and thoroughly enjoyed it. Some students mentioned hopes of attending UCR in the future. On March 11th, Lincoln had an assembly titled Art with Impact. The assembly was to teach students about psychological problems and how to face such issues. Students learned that both teenagers and adults stress or have problems. We also received information about consultation for those who desire help. March 17th and 18th, the CASI was administered to seniors who haven't passed. Our Lincoln community expects that due to extra support from CASI prep classes and after-school help from teachers, our seniors will pass. On March 25th, Lincoln hosted a career day which is geared to give students information for career opportunities. We had guest speakers and students rotated to various classrooms to hear different presenters share their careers such as mechanics, law enforcement, nursing, and fire department, and others. Lincoln has graduated 40 students so far this year and sent over 25 back to their home site prepared to graduate. Every day we celebrate other seniors who graduate and wait to walk across the stage together in June. The UCR TEDx is a district-sponsored event, and 5 Lincoln students have been invited to attend on April 17th. The students are excited and eager to attend this event. The purpose is to help motivate students in focusing on a career and working towards that goal. The event will be held at UCR. Once again, thank you for this opportunity to share this news with you. This concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Paul. Does anybody have any questions? Good job. Thank you so much. And last but not least, from Arlington High School, Kiera Reshaw.
Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. Good to be back. Haven't seen anybody in a while. I'd like to start my report by talking about our kindness week that we had right after spring break. It was a great way to come back from spring break because nobody wants to come. We're all dragging our feet. We started off on Monday, and we handed out these challenges to all of the students, and it was all of these challenges that just like really easy, simple acts of kindness that you could do for anyone, and we had a lot of really positive feedback from that. On top of that, we all got these fun little wristbands. Every single student and staff member got these bright little fun-colored just wristbands. I say Kindness Week 2015, share a smile, hashtag AHS cares. On top of that, we also had compliment cards where any student or staff could write a card to anyone. They could be anonymous, it could be not, you know, whatever you want. And we had a teacher who actually wrote every single one of her students a compliment card, handwritten, and it was just great to see that this is something that touches a lot of people. On top of this, on Friday, we had smileys. Every single person had their name on a little card, and it had a little smiley face on it. It said AHS Cares, and in the morning you could go and you can go find your name on the wall, and everybody had them on their shirts for the rest of the day. And it really had a feeling of family whenever we do this, and it's something that I really enjoy every year. Our ASB elections also have been taking place, and we had a runoff election for ASB president. And as of today, we found out that our ASB president is Alex Rock, and I would like to recognize her and wish her luck for next year. We also recognized our top 12 seniors this year on last Friday or Thursday morning, I'm not sure. And they were presented with posters, and we had a whole little ceremony for them in the morning, and I think it's a really great way to recognize the hard work that they've put in through their whole high school career. We also hosted a SCVA choral festival on Friday. We had 8 different schools come, including, most of them were from Moval if they weren't from the area. Both of our chambers and our advanced women's choir got superior, which is the highest rating. And I'd also like to remember our fallen lion, Roberto Garcia. He's forever in our hearts. Once a lion, always a lion. Are there any questions?
Thank you. That's very sweet. Do you know the name of the Arlington teacher who gave everybody compliments?
I'm not sure.
Not top, on the top of your head. Okay, I just was curious. So that's good. Any questions? Good. Oh, who is it?
Miss Waters.
Mrs. Waters. Okay, very nice. Thank you so much. Good job.
Thank you.
All right, we are now ready for our district superintendent's report.
Mrs. Allavie, can I just make a quick
I'm
question?
sorry.
I just, this is just in general, but I noticed this year, you know, we've been pushing so much for our STEM high school. I think we should have a STEM high school representative.
I think so too, now that we've got more,
yeah, we have
more
a high
STEM
school,
high
and
school.
I don't know if you guys have thought about that, but it just occurred to me because we've got Lincoln, we had our virtual school. I think it would be nice, I mean, not that I want to take up more time, but it would be nice to hear from the STEM kids. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I think
maybe we can work on that.
We should
for
add them into
here.
the mix for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a good suggestion. Dr. Hanson?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. And to begin my report this evening, I'd like to invite our Chief Academic Officer, Ms. Lynn Carmen, to come and give an update on the work in instructional services.
Good evening. I want to start out by recognizing the results of the RIM Science and Engineering Fair that occurred, and I wanted to commend our students in Riverside Unified School District. We had, at the elementary level, we had 2 gold, junior 5, senior 6. We also at King High School had an Intel International Science and Engineering commendation, so pretty exciting. Those students from Riverside Unified School District that did not receive gold recognition received silver or bronze, which means 100% of our students placed. Very exciting. I just wanted to also make mention of our Pupil Services Division just recently opened up a Facebook page to provide more information to our community, and I think it's very exciting. We're continuing to reach out and provide services and messages and communication to best serve all of our students in that division. We have the LEA committee that voted and ran through and looked at 103 applications for grants up to $2,500 and awarded 73 of those for students, I apologize, for teachers, so professional training, to have materials in the classroom, those things, so awarded the amount of money of $110,000 total. So something for us to be thankful for, and we appreciate that we have the ability to provide that to our teachers. The Instructional Services Division has done an excellent job in the response to a long-term concern or stress for teachers, and that is having to fill out cards for the cumulative folder. So they have finally put it on an electronically generated digital card. So they are to be commended for that, and especially Assistant Super Renee Hill, as well as Stephen Palmer from her division. Finally, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an update on our collaboration and partnership with Riverside Community College District and RCC. As you know, we're working on partnerships with, in particular, career pathways that will provide our students with an opportunity to take college-level courses while they're in high school in Riverside Unified School District. So we're looking at the pathways of law and education and also STEM. A more detailed update on STEM, their two faculties have had the opportunity to meet, and they have determined that we would be best served to offer a Chemistry 1A and 1B, which is the entry course necessary to continue on a pathway into Riverside Community College, as well as any four-year college when you complete those two courses. A benefit is that students receive 10 college credits, which, as you know, typically the 3 units in high school equals 5. Actually, it's reverse. 5 units in high school equals 3 for the community college level. And those students are also receiving for a lab. The course is actually rigorous, and it will be held on RCC's campus. Therefore, we have to remember that this is a pilot and that it is optional for students. And so we are looking at this as an opportunity. We're working towards signing an agreement, which you'll be hearing more about. But we wanted to make sure that you knew that this is an optional opportunity. RCC will be holding 15 slots, and my recommendation is if those slots aren't all filled by Riverside STEM Academy students, that we also fill them with other students who may be interested in any of our comprehensive high schools. Thank you very much for letting me share.
Thank you. Dr. Hanson?
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Carmen. Also, I'd like to congratulate King High School and Assistant Principal Athletic Director Tony Macy, and Ramona High School and Assistant Principal Athletic Director John Tibbles. Both have been recognized as recipients of the 2015 Citrus Belt Athletic Directors Association's Sportsmanship Award. And this award honors schools that emphasize sportsmanship and conducting their athletic programs with honors. And so congratulations again to those two schools and their athletic directors, Mr. Macy and Mr. Tibbles. In addition, as you're aware, last Thursday, we had the chance to join Good Morning Riverside as our UC president throughout statewide. Janet Napolitano came and visited and was the keynote speaker at Good Morning Riverside. And following Good Morning Riverside, after speaking, there was a private meeting held there at the Mission with about 16 local business, civic, and education leaders for a roundtable discussion meeting to discuss education issues in California. And during this meeting, I had the opportunity to speak with President Napolitano about her support of dual enrollment for high school students as we explore creating and expanding our partnership with UCR. Chancellor Wilcox was also there, and I feel fortunate to have been part of that meeting and have a chance to have that discussion. As a side note, I think it's in April, later on this month, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Garcia, Chief Academic Officer Lynn Carmen, and myself will be meeting with Chancellor Wilcox and his provost to continue round 2 discussions about an MOU with UCR and looking at having dual enrollment for our high school kids. And last but certainly not least, I had a privilege, and I see him out in the audience. Kevin, would you mind standing up and walking this way? Because President Napolitano was here, and she's the president over all of UC, we received a call by our chamber CEO, Cindy Roth, asking, do you have a senior who is committed to go to University of California at Riverside? And Kevin Torres Dominguez, I'll be there in a minute, Kevin. He was recognized at Thursday's meeting, and of course there's Chancellor Wilcox, our very own UCR Chancellor, and then the President, Napolitano, from the entire state. But Kevin was selected from Ramona High School. Let me tell you why. He's ranked number 3 in his senior class at Ramona High School here in Riverside. He's a salutatorian with a GPA of 4.4. What stands out about Kevin is he is a symbol of hope and inspiration for all undocumented students who are known as the Dreamers. Also, he's a member of Riverside's Grant Makers Committee, where he practices acts of philanthropy that makes his community a better place for teens. He spent his summers working in a manual labor type job and helping mentally challenged children develop social and fine motor skills through his volunteerism at an equestrian center locally. He also serves as member of Ramona's Key Club and Habitat for Humanity. Now, as I mentioned previously, Kevin and UCR have committed to each other, where Kevin plans to study health services and enter the allied health services field. And Kevin's proud mother, Amelia, was there that evening. Is she, Amelia, would you like to stand up as well? And besides being recognized that evening, there's a side note, an interesting thing that happened afterwards. Remember I mentioned he plans to study in the health services field? Well, in addition, right after the Good Morning Riverside, President and COO Judy Carpenter of the Riverside Medical Clinic came up and offered Kevin a summer internship, gave him a job on the spot. But this speaks to Kevin. Kevin later sought back out Mrs. Carpenter and said, you know, Mrs. Carpenter, my good friend can really use that job more than I can. Can you hire them? And Judy, being Judy, she hired them both on the spot. And so he and his friends will intern this summer, and they will shadow doctors and nurses. And so, Kevin, it was truly a pleasure for us to have you represent all of Riverside Unified. And we have a certificate this evening for just being an amazing student and inspiration to the classmates at Ramona High School. I'd like to come down with our board president and take a picture with you and present this to you, okay? Right to your left.
You should get your mom down. Yes, Mom, come down.
And are those your sisters? Sister?
What's the kid you got the job for?
Yeah. Why don't you introduce before and then after? Who's going to be? Okay. After the picture, I'll let you introduce yourself. Maybe we could have Kevin introduce his family to us before he returns to his seat.
So this is my mom, Amelia. Yeah, that's my mom. Those are my two sisters. The taller one is Kenya, and the shorter one is Kayla. All our names start with a K. Fun fact. What schools did you attend? What schools did I attend?
Yeah, what schools did you attend?
Okay, so I hopped from elementary schools, actually. I went from Monroe to Madison, and then I stayed at Jefferson for elementary. I went to Sierra Middle School, and now I'm at Ramona. My little sister, the younger one, attends Sierra, and my older one, or middle sister, she attends Ramona with me. She's a sophomore.
Very good. Mrs. Lock-Dawson, did you want to say something? Okay. Okay, are you?
I'm all done. That concludes my report.
That was a nice way to finish. Thank you very much. We have now reached the stage of public input. Public input provides an opportunity for citizens to make suggestions, identify concerns, and request information on items that are not on our agenda. And because they are not on our agenda, it doesn't allow us to engage in a lot of conversation about these items, but we're very happy to hear your ideas and your thoughts. So let's begin tonight. I think we're talking about 3 minutes or less. Let's begin tonight with Azim Mobasher.
Thank you, Mrs. Allavie and Dr. Hansen and the board members. I am a Riverside STEM Academy parent, and tonight I'm just going to talk to you about as a parent, not as the PTSA president. These are just my concerns about the relationship with RCC right now. I have a 10th grader, so next year this will affect my son, and if this goes ahead, this means that our students will be taking the chemistry course on top of their full day at STEM, meaning that this will be a very long day for them, almost 12 hours. And they're expected to do homework and study for the chemistry course, college course, and on top of their AP courses and everything else. So this, to me, right now, is being rushed. And I appreciate all the hard work that's going into this, but why can't we do this over a summer or I am all for change and being different, and I'm not an AP advocate here, but to me, that is something that's known and known to other universities. Now, this course, I know it's giving them college credits, but AP will give them the units, it will increase their GPA, which is a well-known fact nationally. Whatever university they want to go to, they look at the GPA. So that is, to me, something very concerning. What happens when your MOU goes through with UCR? Are we going to continue with RCC? How is that going to work? Another concern is UCR has courses available to students, to high school students, over the summer through extension. Why can't we do that? Because, I mean, these are all the things that I am very concerned, and this was brought into my attention by my son. There was a survey done. Would you be interested? Yes, our students will be very interested because they're the highest achievers, and to them, this is a college course, and they all want to do it. But if they're not informed properly as to their long day, and it's just, this is just my concerns. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nathan Miller from BIA. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, it was numbered. Okay, Mr. Kevin Burke, Poly High School football.
Good evening, Dr. Hansen and board members. I've spoken with Dr. Hansen on the phone regarding our situation at Riverside Poly with the coaching change. I've corresponded with Mrs. Allavie over the internet. I know that Tom Hunt was down there personally discussing the situation that's going on. And while some things were cleared up and we moved on from that, we still feel that there's some things that need to be addressed. One of the things that I have a concern with is space on campus for the coach. We are currently looking for a head coach, and he has to be a teacher. Well, I guess it's actually, we're looking for a teacher that can happen to coach as it's set up. We've got one former head coach there. Coach Brown is a teacher there. Assuming he does get a job somewhere else, that'll open up a space. If he does not, now we've got another issue of where are we going to put the new coach? And I understand there's a 1/over allocation to kind of help in that regards, but staff, that's part of the reason we're running into the situation we're running into right now. We don't have the ability to bring somebody on to support the head coach. So what's he going to do? If the staff that's currently there decides they're not going to support that coach at this late of the game, what are we going to do for the team. I kind of mentioned in my letter the stipulation that can we do something to help move some of these folks that retire or resign or whatever, but still want to teach to a different position to help open up schedules that are more favorable to the coaches to help them do what they're actually there to do, which is coach. I know they're supposed to teach, but we're not really looking for a teacher. We're looking for a head coach, from what I understand. That was the application process. So if we can figure out a way to keep these things rolling so we don't have to do this every 2 years, I'd be most appreciative, and I know the kids would too. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, and now we have our district employee group reports from the Riverside Council PTA, Ms. Sandy Page.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. This year is going by so fast. I still can't believe it's almost over. Kind of relieved, but still can't believe it. Everything right now is going pretty good in the PTA part world. Most of our units have had elections or having elections, so we're getting ready for next year. Our council elections are going to be April 22nd at 9 a.m. We're meeting now at the Parent Center. So on April 22nd, you're welcome to join us. Also, state PTA challenged all of our units, so for the whole state, to recruit 16 male members. So it was March Male Madness. And we actually got 2 units to achieve this. Mountain View PTA, they actually got 53 new male members.
Wow.
And Alcott got 16, and now they're entered into a drawing at our convention. And so after 16, they'll enter in more times. So hopefully they'll win, I believe it's $500 if they win. So hoping it'll be one of our units. Also, state PTA, our convention is coming up April 30th through May 3rd. It's going to be in Sacramento this year. We have several of our units that are attending. We also have 3 board members from Riverside Council going, so that should be a fun time. We also have our annual awards nominations. They're coming due April 27th. This year we have our first annual Power Award in honor of our wonderful Sherry Power. This is open to anybody, PTA or non-PTA, and it is all about their community service and everything that they've given back. So it's a good reflection of Sherry. Also, our annual council luncheon this year is a brunch, and it is May 20th at 9:30 a.m. And I want to personally invite you all to attend. I gave the invitation out. This is where we celebrate our year and we honor all of our units and all of our honorary service, teacher of the year, volunteer of the year. We do all that at this time. And this year we're going to be installing our new council board for 2015 and 2017. So it'll be a really fun event. And don't forget, we have our raffle baskets that day too. And we raise, all that money goes to the Carol Rood Scholarship, which we give back to our high school seniors. So it's a fun time, and I hope that you all can come. And I also want to thank you for having all the LCAP meetings. I have been asked a lot of questions about LCAP this year. That's been the popular question people have been asking. It also was very helpful that Gloria and Mike Fine came to our last PTA meeting and talked to all of our PTA presidents about LCAP, and we had a lot of questions, and I felt like we got a lot of things discussed, so it was very informative, so thank you for doing that. And lastly, each year, Riverside Council and our other PTAs around the nation choose to honor someone that works extremely hard for our children. This recipient is someone who goes above and beyond their regular duties and make sure the needs of our children are met. We chose this award to honor on Founders Day this year instead of our luncheon, but the pin and the certificate weren't here. And so now we have it, and we would like to give it to our recipient. This person has been involved in RUSD for over 12 years as a parent and employee. Besides being brilliant in his duties, he is hardworking, compassionate, and understanding when it comes to children, parents, and our Riverside community. He's also known to show up at a pancake breakfast and whipped cream pies thrown at his face. A parent at the STEM Academy stated he had a critical part in our ad hoc committee and the future of our school. He is very well deserving of this award, and he works tirelessly for our kids in this district. When a community needs help, he's always there. He helped at a car wash at Central Middle School to help a family bury their son and brother, and the same for Arlington students, giving his time and his resources. He's also there for the Arlington football family when they lost a player on the field, always ready and willing to list to parents to help make sure the team had practice helmets and that they needed to make a player feel safe and parents feel their player was safe. He worked hard to properly implement the district-wide concussion protocol. And although this was most likely in his job description, he handled it with the utmost integrity, returning emails immediately and knowing the importance of the issue held. At the Citrus Classic, a fundraiser for Riverside Educational Enrichment Foundation, he insists on being there at 4:30 a.m., just waiting for some tragedy to happen, and sure enough, it does. And he is sent out to take care of business. He's always there, working until everything is cleaned up. RUSD has been recognized across the state for his excellent work in the LCAP process. His desire to really hear parents and community members brought many firsts, one of them being a community meeting all held in Spanish with English translation. Our community felt heard and could not wait for more. This only touches on the many ways he's impacted students and families here in RUSD and in our city. There's so much more to say, but right now I just want to say, Mr. Fine, could you please come up and accept your pin and certificate? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Page, and congratulations, Mr. Fine. That's a very special award. And now we have the CSEA presentation by Mr. Daniel Rudd, President of the RUSD Chapter 506.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. President Allavie, Superintendent Hansen, and the rest of the board. Chapter 506 has been kind of busy in the last couple months. We've had 4 members that attended the Organizing Institute for CSEA, and that was a week of study for them, and that was where they were able to learn how to represent CSEA and their members more and be able to be more involved with them. We have 9 members that are going to go to the Paraeducator Conference think it's tomorrow, and it's in San Jose, and that's where they learn to do their job better and help out our students and to be better with our community also. And we also had 4 members that went to the maintenance and operation and Cal OSHA training last month, and 2 of the members are here, Melvin Rich and Peggy Rich. Stand up, both of you. And that was 2 days of training for them. And we had 6 members that completed their level 2 union steward training this weekend. And I would like, 3 of them are here today, and I would like them to stand up. Peggy and Mel Rich and Bernie Holt. This year Bernie had redoing it because last year he was doing it and he had a problem, so he couldn't finish the training. So hopefully this year he'll be able to be jacketed with the rest of them, and he's doing a great job. And they're learning to be better for our members, be able to represent them, and be able to work better for our district also. And next month, May 18th through the 22nd is California School Employees Week, and Chapter 506 is going to be having our CSEA picnic on May 16th at Amelia Earhart Middle School, and I sent you guys invites, and we hope to see you there. That's for all of our members to come and have a day just for them, and we really appreciate you showing up and showing you're honoring them. We sent out our surveys for CSCA so our negotiation team could figure out what everybody wants to be negotiated this year. And we had over 300 turned back into us, and we're addressing them as an e-board, and as our negotiating team, we're answering all their questions that they have asked, and we'll be bringing those to the bargaining table. And all kinds of good stuff. And also, too, Bernie Holt, stand up again. He's going to be representing our USD in Chapter 506 at the the C-Pro training for CSEA on May 1st, and that's going to be a long and intense study, so he's been very busy for our chapter also.
Congratulations.
And last but not least, good stuff. This week at our regular chapter meeting, we are going to be voting on our delegates to go to our CSEA conference this year. This year it's in Las Vegas, and it's at the last week of July. The reason it's in Vegas is we found that it's either in San Jose, Sacramento, or in Vegas, and the reason they go to Vegas is it's cheaper for us and it's union friendly and all the good stuff.
And it's in July.
Yes, it's in July, very hot. And we have our chapter is so huge, we're able to have 60 members go and represent our chapter, so we're going to be voting on the delegates to go to that, and that'll be this week. And other than that, that's our news for this month.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions? Thank you so much.
I would really like to, we had a member that we lost last month. His name was Michael Ortega. He's from M&O. He's been with the district for over 20 years. And at his funeral, I really appreciate the fact that we had board members and members of the cabinet and administrators there. It made his family feel good. And one thing with Michael, he was really worried that he didn't know how much love he had. And he's going to be missed.
Thank you. That's very nice. All right. We are now to the consent agenda. I will ask the board if anyone would care to make a motion. Ms. Cloud?
I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda, recognizing the retirement of longtime and dedicated employees that I noted were on the agenda.
Very good. And do I hear a second? Mr. Hunt. Okay, now we will vote on the consent agenda. All right, that does pass. So we are now at the report discussion portion of the meeting, and we now have, looks like 3 different issues from Mrs. Mills on disclosure of agreements. So, Mrs. Mills.
Thank you. For G1, these are for RCTA. These are 3 tentative agreements and 1 memorandum of understanding. The first tentative agreement is for special education, And we added language that should individual class size significantly exceed site averages, the district and association will determine whether support or assistance is needed. The second tentative agreement was for special ed preschool, and we changed the language for preschool speech language pathologists for 40 as a caseload. The third tentative agreement was for hours of employment, that in going to an 8-hour day, we just added that teachers will be at their work site at the beginning of their 8-hour day designated for each school site and stay until the end of their day. And for the memorandum of understanding, we had a lot of new teachers, and so the RUSD BITSA is in additional need of temporary support providers. And we had qualified teachers may be appointed by the director of the program, and there was no fiscal impact for any of these.
All right, this is just reports for discussion. Is there any discussion by the board? All right.
So for G2 is for Riverside Teachers Association, and these are 3 TAs. The first TA is for hours of employment. We added staff developers and counselors so they have the same work day as other teachers. The second part, we added staff developers shall work an 8-hour day inclusive of lunch. It used to be exclusive of lunch. And Article 15, a tentative psychologist assignment shall be received no later than May 15th of the current school year. And the third tentative agreement is regarding our grade span adjustment. We now have different rules for our class sizes, and the union and the district wrote language, so there is a little flexibility for grade span adjustments, so we do not have any penalties.
Very good. Any discussion by the board? Thank you.
And for G3, this is our Chapter 506 CSEA and the district. And we have 4 job descriptions that we worked on at the table. The first one is a district community assistant, Title I. The second one is a nutrition services system specialist, a nutrition specialist assistant, and a student assistance plan prevention assistant.
Any discussion? Thank you very much, Mrs. Mills.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And now we are to the point of the public hearing on item number H1. So I will open the public hearing and ask for Dr. Lewis to come up.
Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. At our last meeting in March, the board asked for this item and the following resolution to be tabled so that the Operations Board Subcommittee could review the information. On March 27th, the Operations Board Subcommittee did meet. We basically sunshined the report that you're going to see later on tonight. In order for this public hearing to be set, we had to run the 30-day clock again, so that's why the public hearings come back before you today. Okay, thank you.
Very good. And we do have a member of the public. Now it's time for Nathan Miller. Would you like to speak?
Thank you, President Allavie and members of the board. The BIA did have an opportunity to obviously draft its concerns with the fee, which I believe every board member has a copy of. And just to highlight that, we have concerns with an increase in the fee when at the same time the school district is facing declining enrollment. Also, currently within the boundaries of Riverside, there's a decline in development. We've seen a trend evidently on even years. Development goes up a little, but on odd years it starts to fall sharply. And that has been evident in the data that we've looked at for the beginning of the year. One thing the study doesn't account for developer agreements and future CFDs that can be put in place at a later time by developers, city councils, and school districts. And the numbers that are put in there in terms of what future development is doesn't necessarily include or exclude those items. All of these factors, from the BIA's perspective, don't speak to a need to increase the fees. In fact, it would recommend the opposite. But we also understand the importance of the needs of the district, making sure that students are provided with the facilities that are required. The BIA, the California Building Industry Association, has partnered with CASH. I don't know if you're aware that we're working to get a measure on the ballot to fund school building, basically get that measure there. And we're hopeful that we can get it on the ballot. Polling indicates that voters would be highly receptive to it, and it should pass. But of course, in the meantime, we're also working with the governor's office to determine the best course of action in terms of funding facilities for school districts throughout California. Our recommendation, before I get to that, the other thing is whenever a fee increase takes place, it slows down development. It changes the nature of a business plan for a developer, because their business plan is based on certain cost assumptions, and when things change, all of a sudden they have to rework their plans. It's going to slow things down. At the very least, in some cases, when it's an egregious increase, you'll see plans essentially mothballed. Regardless, the building industry would like to pay its fair share, and our recommendation is for a resolution to keep the fees at their current rate.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hunt, would you like to speak when we take it as an action?
Either, whatever you think is proper.
Thank you. If there are no other comments, I will close the public hearing at this time. And we will move to the action calendar, and we will take up the resolution of the board for the facilities needs analysis. Dr. Lewis again.
Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, as I mentioned, this item is being brought back to you after it's been reviewed by the Operations Board Subcommittee, Mr. Hunt and Mr. Lee. I'd like to introduce Haley Calhoun, who will introduce our consultants in the preparation of the school facilities needs analysis.
Thank you.
Good evening, President Allavie and members of the board, Dr. Hanson. We are back this evening to present the full report to you. We do have a PowerPoint that I don't see yet. But basically, we do have new consultants with this year, so this was an opportunity for us to come forward and let them also present their findings and how they prepare the report, so that you could have a good knowledge of how the report was prepared and have an opportunity to speak with our consultants that are working with us this year. And
could we make sure that everybody speaks into the mic?
Yeah, it's really hard to
kind
hear
of difficult to hear.
oh, there we go. Okay.
Thank you.
So as I said, this is an item that comes before you every single year. It's usually in the month of March, because our reports are good for 1 year. And so we have new consultants hired this year. They are from Koppel and Gruber, and we have Doug Floyd and Lynn Gruber with us tonight. In preparation for this report, we did seek information from city and county agencies, and the BIA, as he stated, had the opportunity before you now to talk about their concerns, but they also did compliment the findings of our report and did not find any, feel that it was a moderate increase, although again, I understand his point of view and what he's already presented, but they do agree with what we did find in our report. And so at this point, I'd like to let our new consultants have the opportunity to speak with you, and then you can ask any questions at the conclusion.
Can I clarify? You say the BIA agreed with what you present?
I'm sorry?
The BIA, did I misunderstand? Did you say the BIA agreed?
Well, this was the quote that we received back, that they appreciate our communication. And yes, they do have some recommendations, which he just discussed, but he did agree with our report. Not that they don't have concerns with it in terms of the building industry in general, building in general.
He agreed that the determined assumptions of the average size unit and how many future units over the course of the next 5 years. Is that what he agreed to, or did he agree to that?
Yes, that's what he wrote in his email.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know where our introduction slide went, but, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let them, Doug and Lynn, start.
Welcome.
Can everybody hear me? Good evening, President Allavie, board members, Dr. Hansen. Again, my name is Doug Floyd. I have Lynn Gruber with me as well. We're from Koppel and Gruber Public Finance. We assisted the school district in the process of bringing this item before you. We thought it would be beneficial just to give you an overview of the fees and then our approach and how we approach the methodology. So to start, I guess I have to. So to start, what is the purpose of the school fees? The school fees are a financing mechanism which allows school districts to help offset the impact on school facilities from students generated from new development, meaning there's new development, it'll bring more kids to the district, and the district must provide housing for those students. The collection of the school fees can then be used for new construction of school facilities as well as reconstruction, including things like interim housing and to some extent admin support buildings. Fees cannot be used for items like deferred maintenance or operations expenses, so just to keep that clear. When we talk about the school fees, we talk about two tiers. The level 1, which is also referred to as the statutory fees, and the level 2 and level 3, also referred to as alternative fees. That's the item for discussion this evening. But I will give just a brief overview of the level 1 fees so you understand those. Level 1 fees apply to both residential and commercial development. Those fees are capped by the State Allocation Board, and the State Allocation Board can increase those fees in even numbered years. So in 2014, they increased the fees from $3.20 to $3.36 for residential development and from 51 cents to 54 cents for commercial development. So that's kind of the base fees. Districts have the opportunity to levy alternative fees, which are above and beyond the level 1 fees. It applies to residential development only. And the level 2 fees are intended to represent 50% of facilities costs. Level 3 fees, those fees have never been enacted, but they would exist or be triggered if the State Allocation Board ceased to provide state funding, which technically they have, but the State Allocation Board has not formally notified the State Assembly or the legislature. So for right now, the level 3 fees have not been triggered, so we're just talking about the level 2. Once adopted, the fees are valid for a maximum of 1 year. So that's the reason why we have to come to the board each year to present the item. Now, just to get into the methodology of how the level 2 fee is calculated, the determination is actually prescribed in the statutes under the government code. And the first requirement is that a projection be made of the students generated out of housing over the next 5 years. The statutes further instruct that in doing so, historical student generation rates be used over the previous 5 years. And when we talk about student yields, we refer to the number of students yielded from each dwelling unit. And so if there was 100 units built in the last 5 years, 50 students generated, we'd say there's a 0.5 student generation rate. That's done on the various school levels, so elementary, middle, and high school, and it's also done for different types of residential development. So we have a category for single-family detached versus multifamily type uses. The next component, the more difficult component, is the projection of units over the next 5 years. Fortunately, we don't have a crystal ball, so we have to go through a series of a methodology and determining that, or a reasonable projection. We looked at various documents, including the city's housing element, which is part of the general plan. That document identified around 3,000 units that are either planned, entitled, or under construction. And we also looked at county records, which had listed planned or entitled tracts of about 2,000 units. We obviously don't think 5,000 units will be built in the next 5 years, so we looked at historical trends. We also looked at a document from Beacon Economics that was prepared in conjunction with UC Riverside that presented a forecast of not only housing, but also a lot of other factors such as employment and population growth. And from that, we derived an estimate of 700 single-family dwelling units over the next 5 years. That comes out to be about 140 per year, and 300 multifamily units. We sent those projections to the city and county planning departments for their review. We did get a response from the city. Unfortunately, it was after the report had been finalized, but their projections or their comments or recommendations stated that our projections they thought were a bit conservative. They actually wanted to increase our projections on multifamily by about 200 units, which would result actually in a higher fee than we calculated in the report. So once we get the projection of the number of students over the next 5 years, those are multiplied by certain what we call permissible costs. Those costs include the new construction grants that are set by the State Allocation Board, and also up to 50% of estimated site development and site acquisition costs to the district. Once we calculate that amount, we then divide that by the projected square footage over the next 5 years to arrive at a fee of $3.84, which is the legally permissible fee that the district can adopt at this time. I turn it over to Lynn.
So very quickly, as Doug said, we are recommending a fee of $3.84, which is a 1.8% increase over last year's fee, so less than 2%. Historically, this shows the historical level 2 fees that the district has charged, ranging from a high of $4.30 in 2008 to a low of $3.26 in 2011, and it's been creeping up since. Last year, the fee was actually justified at $4, and the board maintained it at the $3.77. So let's see, did it skip through? I guess maybe that slide got. Okay. So we did have some surrounding area fees to show where you can lay in comparison, but basically what we are providing, what I'd like to remind you is that this fee is intended to represent only 50%. In reality, it represents only about 35% of the cost. And right now, the state no longer has any authority to allocate for new construction. As Nathan said, Californians for Quality Schools has an initiative out on the street, so you may have signed the petition for that. But until that gets qualified, we won't know if there will be a November bond, 2016 bond, until that is qualified. This governor has not been supportive of a school bond, so we know for sure he won't be signing a bond. So our biggest hope is this November 2016 bond. But other than mitigation agreements through negotiation and CFDs, as Nathan mentioned, this is the only way for developers to pay their fair share. So we are recommending the $3.84 and open it up.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Cloud.
I actually have a quick question, I guess for Dr. Lewis, just to be very clear. What ways does Riverside have an opportunity to improve our schools? We're at the end of our bond. Even if we do a new bond, it won't come forward for a couple of years. The state is not issuing bonds, so where do we get our money to improve in our schools?
Yeah, the importance of these fees is for mitigating the impacts of new residential construction. So as families move into those new homes, they'll bring students, and then we have to provide additional facilities. So because there's no state building program, we're 100% reliant upon the fees that we can assess at this point in time.
These fees?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mrs. Allavie. Dr. Lewis, on that, that was a good question Mrs. Cloud asked. She talked about improved, but did I understand that we can't use these funds to improve an existing facility, whether it be a modular or a gymnasium?
You can't use it for like modernization or maintenance type work, no.
Okay. Can we go back to slide 10? Can you do that? I have a question to ask. By the way, to the fellow members of the board, this did come before our committee, and I thank Mrs. Calhoun and Dr. Lewis. Did a very excellent, and these folks I really thought was a much, just in my opinion, a much more thorough and perspective look at where we're going as a community. So I do appreciate the report. Maybe it wasn't 10. Well, one of the ones, I'm sorry, it might have been 9. I apologize, ma'am. There we go. It talked about site acquisition. Are any of these projected numbers that we're looking at requiring the district to acquire? I mean, we have a strong appendix in here. I think it was Appendix F that this report puts together about, and it talked about what sites do cost. Are we talking about needed to buy any property because of these additional children over the next 5 years?
Well, and this brings up a good point of conversation. During our subcommittee meeting, a question got brought up regarding the 1,400 unit master plan community in the High Grove area. And the question was, how will that be phased? Our firm, along with district staff, did a little bit more research and found that the first phase, being developed by KB Homes, is planned for about 200 units. And that's actually under construction already, and 83 permits have already been issued.
Did you put this together? Did you? Who put this together?
That's district staff. That was district
okay,
staff,
thank
yeah.
you. I think you were clarifying. So 250 homes, 83 permits have been pulled.
Right.
And then go ahead.
Oh. Go ahead. So our understanding is the districts or the schools in that area are either at capacity or near capacity, and the need, if those properties do develop, will be in that area. I don't know. I'd have to defer to Haley or somebody more versed in those facilities, but our understanding is that those sites would either need to be expanded or possibly a new site.
This is 83 homes. What is the average size on these homes? Are we looking at 3,400 or?
They're actually below that. They're
smaller homes?
They're smaller, yeah. They're, I want to say 2,800, 2,600 to 2,800. Oh. Okay. So yeah, below the 3,400.
Otherwise, then your report shows there's about 40 permits pulled the rest of the city for homes.
Haley, you prepared
yes,
that? Yeah.
Okay. And didn't Dr. Lewis, we just recently have, and I appreciate the appendix, are we in declining enrollment at RUSD, or are we static,
yes,
or are we growing?
For the last couple of years. And I guess the best way to provide some perspective is that with your existing housing stock, you're going to have cycles of families coming in and families moving out. So right now we're in a cycle where the families that are moving into homes are not generating as many students to RUSD as they have in the past. The cycle will come back, and we'll have families with younger students, school-age kids, that will then give us the maximum number of students, will fill the existing capacity that we have. So what this fee does, it looks at the new residential development so we can build the capacity in our facilities to be able to house those students when they come in.
Right.
Okay.
And just one minute.
Oh, that's it.
What about Mr. Floyd's comments about, and you gave us, what about High Grove Elementary? Is it at capacity? How many young people will, if all 83 homes are built in the next 2 years, how many children would 83 homes under your, I've asked you this kind of question before, so I know you got a math in your head, but what kind of impact will it have on the elementary school?
That'll yield about 25 to 30 elementary students. And we do have capacity at High Grove. We've put in portable classrooms as interim housing for what was planned for a new elementary school in that area. The development has changed its complexion over the last 10 or 12 years. At this point in time, we're not sure they're going to actually build enough homes to warrant a new elementary school. It's just time will tell. So we have the interim housing portals there to accommodate an interim number of students. At University and North High School, they are basically at capacity, so new students that would be generated from that development eventually will cause us to provide additional facility at those two schools.
Additional facility, but if it's 25 children, 30 children, to the High Grove, then as you've many times told me, they don't all come in the same age and size. So it's going to be, we're not going to put a portable out there for these children. They're going to be mixed in with other children in other classrooms.
It wouldn't be with the number of permits that are pulled now, but as that development builds out, not only are we getting students at the elementary level, but we will be getting students at the secondary schools as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lee.
So my question during the Operations Committee meeting was, why do we have to do this every year? And I understand now it's because we have to. We don't have a choice. The government code says we have to do it. And I think it's interesting that we're supposed to project 5 years ahead of time, but yet we have to do it every year. So it's kind of frustrating as a board member. I mean, I know we got to follow the rules, but it seems almost comical that this is what we have to go through every year for such a nominal change. So my question now is, so based on the recommendation from 377 to 384, how much in additional fees would RUSD collect in the next year?
It obviously is a function of the number of permits that are actually pulled.
But we're projecting, right, a certain number of permits being pulled in the next year?
We projected over the 5-year period. I don't know if we projected for the next year. Okay.
Just doing the math. So we're projecting 700 single-family dwelling units over the next 5 years at 3,400 square feet with a 7% increase, and that is $166,000.
Over the next 5 years?
Over the next 5 years.
Okay, so that's like, what, $30-some thousand per year?
Yes. Yeah, that's
so based on that additional $30-some thousand, do we find that that's enough to accommodate the additional capacity at these schools by charging that additional 7 cents?
We could, as I said, because we have the capacity at High Grove within interim housing, we can handle the students there. Eventually, we'll be adding at least 1 or 2 portables at University and 1 at North High School, again, over the 5-year period.
So basically, we'd be just looking to, if we collect these additional fees, looking to bank those dollars.
That's correct.
Over the next 5 years
That's
to try
correct.
to build out capacity. And we can do that.
Excuse me?
And we can do that.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Mrs. Lock-Dawson.
Thank you, Mrs. Allavie. Couple questions. I'm kind of struggling with this because it does seem like a nominal fee. It doesn't seem that big of a deal to me, but I also know the housing industry is still very, very much struggling. And if we revisit this every year, I sort of see sort of no harm, no foul in putting it off for a year, particularly if we're only looking at an additional 25 kids up in the area this year. But I wanted to ask first of all, perhaps Mrs. Allavie, if I could ask Mr. Miller or maybe Dr. Lewis would know this, how would that increase in fee affect a housing price, like a home for a builder, or do we know? Okay, so we pass that price on to the builder of 7 cents a cost. You know, what does that do to the price of a house? Can Mr. Miller come forward?
It's a very minimal increase, and it does get passed on to the buyer.
To the buyer, yeah, okay. Okay, and then my second question was, does the facilities, did you have a recommendation for the rest of the board? Did you come up with one, or were you bringing it to us to discuss? Because I'm really on the fence with this one. I don't know.
I was opposed, and Mr. Lee wanted to study it more.
Okay. Mr. Hunt? Oh, are you finished? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. It's Mrs. Cloud.
It is, and I just have a quick question, or explanation again. When it is warranted, we do roll the fees back as showed on the chart. Is that not correct? We roll the fees back. Some years we have rolled the fees back.
Right, yes we have.
Correct. So these are not extravagant. We try to be very careful and mindful of the fees. And as the chart showed, H.O.P.E's fees, some of these are higher than ours, correct? Yes. Yeah. Most of them what?
Level 1.
Oh, well. Mr. Hunt? I'm sorry, are you done, Mrs. Cloud? Mrs. Cloud, are you finished?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I was watching Mr.
Sorry.
Miller.
Okay, Mr. Hunt.
I think in fairness, Ms. Cloud's question, though, that some of these other districts that are below us, and particularly you look at Corona Norco, which seems to still be growing, Eastvale and all that, they have a lot of CFDs, don't they, Dr. Lewis? Whereas, where you pointed out, or someone did earlier, that, or I think you did, Mr. Floyd, they could form CFDs, we just don't know if they will or not, and it probably takes a little more massing than we see here. What is the cost of a modular today?
Totally installed is upwards of 150,000.
150? How much was it 5 years ago?
It was probably closer to 100.
So it's gone up that much? And what causes that?
Well, it all depends on the actual location, but if you have to bring in more power, put a transformer in, that's much more expensive. We've had increases in state requirements with handicap accessibility. Every time you put a portable in, they're looking at handicap accessible pathways. That has all contributed to the cost of escalation.
But the actual modular has not gone up 50%.
No, the actual portable itself has probably changed very little in its actual construction cost.
But it's a triggering ADA situation, so which is going to be different at every campus we have.
That's correct.
It's going to be different.
That's correct.
Okay. So, when you're ready for a motion, Mrs. Allavie.
Okay, I just have a question. Regarding level 1 fees, the state puts those on, correct?
That's correct.
Out of those level 1 fees, how much, do we see anything on a local level of those level 1 fees?
We use that fee for senior housing. So it's...
So the school district does not get that?
No, we do for senior residential housing that's built. Because there is a nexus of impact with students that could be generated from that.
How does senior housing generate student? Am I missing something?
So the level 1 fee is charged when you don't qualify for level 2. So you either charge level 1 at the $3.36.
Okay.
And then commercial is also charged because they generate employees, which many times, it's it's like 54 cents a square foot. They can bring students into the district to generate students that way. So you either charge level 1, or if you qualify, you may charge level 2 for residential only. So if this report were not in front of you this evening, if it doesn't get approved, you fall back to the level 1, the 336. So you either charge the 336 or whatever you can qualify for under level 2.
Okay, so it's either or. It's not, for some reason, I got the feeling it was on top.
It's not both, no.
Okay.
So you're not adding on level 2 to level 1.
Okay.
So instead of 336, our report recommends you charge the 384.
Got it. Well, we don't have as many opportunities anymore to help ourselves when it comes to facilities. Just pointing out, I was trying to point out while we had the discussion about number of students coming from out of district to our district and how they brought dollars in and how we've now limited those out of district students coming in. And with that limitation, we've also limited some of our income that's also coming in. So what I'm concerned is that perhaps we are really cutting off our nose to spite our face. We're going to really limit our facilities options, and that's a concern to me. Mrs. Lock-Dawson.
I'm concerned, and with all due respect, Mr. Miller, I understand the position BIA is in, and I'm kind of there too, but we're looking at the potential for having a bond in 2016 for facilities for this district. We haven't had one in 10, 11 years. I don't know how long it's been. It's going to be difficult for me to go out and ask the voters. I say, I'm going to turn this down. I'm not going to, get what I can out of the developers, but then I'm going to turn to the voters and say, but I need you to pay for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm hoping as a fellow elected official, you understand what a tough sell that could be. And I realize BIA is backing the state bond with the taking that forward. But that's sort of, there's multiple steps that have to go for that. So that's why I'm struggling with this one. It's tough. I understand that, I know that, but it's kind of tough. I'd like to hear the other board members' feelings about that.
Mr. Hunt first.
Okay, can I just clarification, ma'am? You were saying if we turn this 384 recommendation down, we go to level, we don't stay at 377?
That depends on the board's actions tonight. If you just said, we see the report, we don't like it, we're not going to approve anything, you would go back to the level 1 at 336.
But that's not what the proposal is it, Dr. Lewis?
If the board approved something less than the 384 with the resolution that's before you, then you would be going to whatever that something less is.
The board could approve any number between, what's the
336.
336 to 384.
That's correct.
And one of those numbers could be we could just leave it at 377.
That's correct.
All right, I want to be sure we clarified that.
That's
I understand thank you, ma'am, I appreciate your input. I think we have to, as a city, I think often, and I'm one of the ones that do, try to remind City Hall how important investment in education is to their economic stability and growth. I think we have to also realize that the industry is in a lot of concern. The requirements now on traffic studies alone are absurd. And it's too bad we don't have Mrs. Lock-Dawson on that committee anymore, but because she was the one that would try to crack down on some of the absurd costs that are being thrown. I don't see that our district, a declining enrollment district, warrants having to add anything. I think we're just taking money to take extra money, and I realize it's a minuscule amount, it really is, but it's the signal it sends. And I think it sends a bad signal to people that want to support us from the building industry across this state, that we're again taxing, no matter what the amount is, we're taxing their ability to do business even more. We could drop it to the lowest amount, and no one here, I think, wants to do that or feels that's justified, but I don't see it being justified that we raise it either, so just so you know.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Cloud?
Well, I would just remind us, our focus is on our USD students. I believe we do need to be good partners in the city, but our focus as a board should be on our students and their housing and their needs. So I support this, and I thought Mr. Hunt had called for the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, he has not. He said when you're ready, we will call for the vote.
Okay, well, I called for the vote then.
All right. There's, well, could we hear the rest of the speakers, Mrs. Cloud? Mr. Lee?
Yeah, just wanted to remind the board, in case we forgot, last year we had this same issue come up, and we also did not follow the recommendation. We had a substitute motion to keep the levels the same. So we also have that option if the board wishes. And I would argue that, or you could argue that developers already do pay their fair share, and based on the fact that housing inventory, especially in new developments, is not moving fast at all, if we pass any additional increase, that is going to go not to the developers, it's going to go on to the homeowners, so the homeowners are going to be paying this cost too. So in thinking about a bond, you're going to be asking those homeowners who bought a new house, the families that we're trying to attract to our neighborhoods, attract to our schools, especially when we have declining enrollment in some areas, to pay twice. So because it's nominal, and we can revisit it every year, and I'm not seeing anything in my business that I do every day, nor in this report, that is warranting any significant impact in the next year, I too don't support this recommendation.
Thank you. Mrs. Lock-Dawson?
Remind me again, how much would this increase generate next year if we were to do this with this that was put on our desk? Yeah, how much more would we get as a district?
76 times. $30,000.
$30,000.
How much does report cut?
Yeah, I don't know. Call for the vote, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, well, we've had several people call for a vote, so.
But I'm going to ask a question, just to show, go to Mr. Lee's point, it's absurd that districts have to do this. We're compelled to do this every year. I think these people have done a great job. I think their lobby in Sacramento is excellent, because we have to do it. How much does it cost us every year to do this, to go through this exercise? About $12,000. So over a 5-year period, which has already been pointed out, would probably be better. We're spending $60,000 to raise 30. So that include a tremendous amount of and very good staff time. So I would make a motion that we that the board would maintain the 377 level for the upcoming fiscal year.
Do I hear a second? Mr. Lee seconds. Further discussion? Okay, we will now vote to maintain the rate at the 377 level. Okay, that vote is 3 yes, 2 no. It does pass. So it will maintain at the 377 level. Thank you.
Again, I want to commend staff on an excellent report and very hard work, and I think a much better report than this. Now, this is my 8th time looking at this, and I think was much clearer and well prepared.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Mrs. Cloud is going to be leaving us. She is suffering from bronchitis, and get better. Okay, thank you so much. We will talk about our new proposed high school course, our show choir course. Mr. Garcia.
Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hansen, board members, we have a new performing arts course that is before you for submitted for approval. I'd like to ask Ms. Kelly Dower, who's the choir teacher and director at Arlington High School, who wrote this course and with the support of Ms. Kim Coons and Mr. John Robertson, and she will provide you the specifics for that for your consideration.
Okay. Hello.
Board President Allavie, Dr. Hansen, and members of the board. I'm assuming this is the clicker, and I've not used it, so here we go. All right, so what we're requesting this evening is for approval of show choir as part of the choral curriculum in our USD for all schools, but certainly for Arlington, who will use it next year if it's approved. What it does is it increases access into this course by providing PE, VAPA, and elective credit, depending on student need. This is already being done in neighboring districts. I wrote one in Valverde some years ago that they used to use, but it's currently being offered in Brea Olinda Unified, Burbank Unified, whose show choir was on Oprah Winfrey one year, and the Sweetwater Union High School District. All three offer this three options for credit. And of course, if as all choral courses currently are A through G approved, if it's approved tonight, then we would of course seek A through G approval as well. Okay, so what is show choir? Well, it's pizzazz, as you can see. It's an intensive course that strengthens student artistically singing, creating music, as well as physically dancing with movement and calisthenics. So if you walk into kindergarten classrooms, you see a lot of things, but one of the key things you see when it's time for learning is movement, and music, of course, and we like to bring that level of engagement to our high school students as well. We currently offer it as a vocal jazz ensemble. It's taught at 2 high schools in this way, in this exact way. But it's an opportunity for students to maintain that school plus 2 in a single focused discipline, which in our case would be vocal music. And we, in our conversations with instructional services, we decided it was more than just glee, although we're fine with that connection because it'll help with enrollment. It's academic and it's standards based, and that's how it was written and that's how it will be taught. So how's this course different, I suppose, than what we currently do? It's different than vocal jazz in that it is choreographed movement based on the performance that we would like to see. It embeds the standards-based PE curriculum to academically address a more physical approach to singing. Singing in itself is very physical. My students always leave sweating from all the classes, but this one they would sweat maybe a cup more, a little bit more. And it also activates student creativity across the arts disciplines. We have dance, music, and those things would be activated if they were in this course. But more than that, it also maintains healthy competitiveness with other schools and the competition within yourself. And that's very important in the arts because that's really who you're battling for the rest of your life. So how is it the same? Well, it's standards-based. It's based on our music curriculum that's currently in place. But it also builds upon 21st century skills of collaboration, creativity, innovation, critical thinking, and it goes on. Many more skills that can be built upon. We have a high expectation of excellence, just as we do in all courses in this district. Certainly the music courses are no exception. And that is my presentation.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So I'm not quite sure how this differs from what I see show choir doing at King, for instance.
Well, what we're doing is calling it what it is. It's being taught as vocal jazz, but if in our course catalog.
But they move and they do choreography. So
it's the same.
It's the same.
It's what we've been doing. We're calling it what it is, but we're offering credit for what they're doing, which is the PE credit, which that piece hasn't been there.
And I love that. I love that. I think it's wonderful. So you just said that Arlington would be the only one doing it?
No. I said it certainly would be at Arlington, but King also will.
Okay.
And the other
so their
schools
class
as
will
well.
just change over to show choir.
Right. So would ours.
Oh, so would yours.
Right.
Okay. So it's just putting a different spin on it.
It's the actual what we're doing. Yeah. Let's call it what it is. Yeah.
Well, I think it's brilliant. I would love to have everybody do it. Mrs. Lock-Dawson?
I was kind of hoping you'd give us a taste of it. Just
sure, baby.
Jazz hands. No, actually, though, what I did, is there an opportunity with a course like this? I know it's sort of formalizing what's already been going on, but is there an opportunity to combine and make some sort of consortium or something for all of our high school show choirs so that there's a way that they can, sorry, did I call it the wrong thing again?
No, you're fine. Show choir is what it is.
Show choir, yeah. You know, so that we can put it in a
competition, you mean, between them?
No, not a competition, actually. More of a, where these kids could build a portfolio for auditions, for, college entry, if this is the kind of thing they wanted to do, where it's actually a conservancy-based model for show choir, something like that. Is there an opportunity to do that?
It's certainly up for discussion with the choral directors and with Kim, of course. We'd certainly, I think, be open to suggestions and that kind of a conversation, sure.
I just think it's such a new, not new, but it's such a popular and emerging form of entertainment, and a lot of the colleges and the schools that do performing arts look for these kinds of things. So.
Right, and that's another key piece, because schools like Auburn University have a show choir, and if they had that on their schedule in high school, that would at least get them in the door, or it could very well get them in the door, rather than vocal jazz, where they'll think, well, they didn't really do show choir, they have no idea, and they may not get the audition, so it's a good idea to have it on the schedule.
So you spoke about competition. Would those be different than the kind of competitions you currently do, because of the course would not change? Basically, you're still
probably do more. We'd have more students.
Okay, there you go. All right. Any further discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I will move approval of this
Thank you.
course.
And Mr. Hunt, you second?
I'll actually yield my second to you.
Thank you. I would love to second it. Okay. All those in favor, vote, please. Freudian slip.
I bet I know what Mrs. Cloud would vote, too. So.
That's true. Okay, that
Thank
motion
you
does
very,
pass.
very much. Students are going to be excited.
Thank you. It's going to be fun to see. Okay. Now we're ready to tackle transitional kindergarten course of study and the curriculum materials.
Yes, correct. So before you, we have in this one item two sub-items for your consideration for approval. One is the transitional kindergarten course of study, and in addition to that, the purchasing of the materials, the comprehensive materials for the course. So as you know, there are some changes coming through the state and some legislation that is asking districts to make sure that we are aligned with curriculum for TK. And at this time, I'd like to ask Brad Shear, who's our Director for Elementary Education, and Carolina Michel, who's our Instructional Services Specialist. One of her is in TK, and so they will share the specifics with you.
All right, good evening, President Allavie and Dr. Hanson and members of the board. And yes, I am here with Carolina Michel. She is our resident expert in transitional kindergarten. So she's going to walk us through a few of the slides, but I'm just going to introduce a few things. We are bringing a request for approval of a new kindergarten course of study, as well as new curricular materials. Over the past year, we have been considering a different model for transitional kindergarten, as Mr. Garcia mentioned, in response to both some clarifications from the state, as well as feedback from our teachers, from principals, and from parents as well. And as you know, our current practice for transitional kindergarten is to evenly disperse our transitional kindergarten students into kindergarten classrooms. So all of the kids are evenly placed in those classrooms. Our proposal is going to propose to change that model. Current model is that all the students get kindergarten instruction. They have kindergarten curriculum, they get a kindergarten instruction, they have the same report card as the kindergarten students do, so everything is the same. And so it's very possible that if they don't accelerate to first grade, they end up in 2 years of the same program. And so we propose to change that. And so just as a reminder, transitional kindergarten is for children whose birthdays do fall between September 2nd and December 2nd. So they turn 5 between that window. It's the state defines in an ed code the first year of a 2-year program that uses modified kindergarten curriculum that is age and developmentally appropriate. And so you notice we kind of highlighted those terms because we want to make sure that what we offer truly meets the language that's there. Recently, the Senate also passed some additional legislation that indicates that it is the intent of the legislature that TK curriculum be aligned to both the kindergarten standards but also to the California Preschool Learning Foundations, and that it truly be a bridge between preschool and kindergarten. And just we added one additional, this is a new issue as well according to the legislature, that teachers of transitional kindergarten also have to meet additional certification requirements. So they have to have their teaching credential, but by 2020 they also have to meet one of those conditions that you see on the slide, which is to have completed 24 units of early childhood education, or have preschool experience comparable to 24 units, or have a child development permit. We have 5 years to do that, so our teacher, but it begins this year, and beginning in 2015, the clock begins to tick, and we have 5 years to get our teachers to that place, and so we'll be assisting them.
Sorry, that's on top of a credential?
On top of the credential.
They've needed to have the childhood, okay.
Correct,
Thank you.
right. So we'll be, and the purpose of tonight's presentation isn't really to go into that in great detail, but just so that you know, we are working with the personnel department. We are working on partnering with RCC to provide classes to our kindergarten teachers and others who may want to teach TK, and so a lot of those details are being worked out. We also will intend, of course, to hire people in the future with those certifications in place as well. So our model going forward is, instead of having the students evenly dispersed into kindergarten classrooms, that we cluster the students into one TK class when possible. So we'd ideally like to have one TK class at each school. It would be a full-day program, and it would use a modified kindergarten curriculum that would be both aligned to the kindergarten standards, but also the preschool learning foundations, and be a bridge in between, bridging those students from preschool to kindergarten. So I'm going to turn it over to, and we shared this with the instructional subcommittee. So Mr. Lee, Mrs. Cloud have seen several presentations on this topic. They gave us the go-ahead back in December to move forward, and so we established a TK curriculum committee, and many of the members are actually here in the audience. I've seen some of them. They have been working on a set of standards, bridge standards, and that was a document that was provided to you during the day. I apologize, that's my fault, I didn't get in the packet earlier. But Mrs. Michelle is going to walk you through some of the work of the curriculum committee, or the TK committee.
Well, good evening, Ms. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. Back in December, our Instructional Services Department brought together a TK Curriculum Committee composed of 10 kindergarten or transitional kindergarten teachers, 2 site administrators, 3 elementary staff developers, our early childhood education coordinator, and the special education program specialist, and 2 instructional services specialists, myself and Matt Cash, to form this committee. And together we took the responsibility of completing the work of the committee. And our work was to begin with developing a vision for transitional kindergarten. We then, of course, moved on to developing a course of study, identifying standards that were aligned to the continuum of California preschool learning foundations and the kindergarten standards. We also revised the transitional kindergarten report card, revisions to the current acceleration practice. We will continue on to developing professional development for our transitional kindergarten teachers, and most important, communicating all of the changes to our parents enrolling transitional kindergarten students for next year.
Excuse me, is this unique to RUSD, or are we utilizing a TK curriculum that other districts are using?
We are actually moving forward with what our surrounding districts did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. We have studied several districts in our surrounding area, Corona Norco, Jurupa, Murrieta Valley Unified. We actually, myself and Matt Cash and two other committee members visited Murrieta to learn about their program, and they identified transitional kindergarten standards that were aligned to preschool learning foundations and the kindergarten standards back to 2 years ago they started.
So am I understanding that you took the best of what you saw, or you have adopted a program already in use?
We are currently right now we've developed transitional kindergarten standards, and a larger committee also looked at 4 possible curriculum materials that they have been in use.
Okay.
We've looked at 4 that are in our surrounding areas are in use.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
But before we made recommendations, we went
You
ahead.
researched it.
We researched.
Got it.
We began our work first by learning the state's intent of a transitional kindergarten program. And the Department of Education shares with us that the goal of a transitional kindergarten program is to prepare students to successfully meet the California kindergarten standards, so that at the end of their kindergarten year, year 2, they're successful. We then asked ourselves, what do we envision transitional kindergarten to be here in our USD? We listened to early implementers of transitional kindergarten share their experiences. School site administrators, teachers, literacy coaches, and parents shared the needs of transitional kindergarten students, the curriculum for TK that they used, what was effective instruction and assessment for transitional kindergarten, and what an effective learning environment looked like. We then moved on to studying the California Preschool Learning Foundations and the tool, which is in alignment of the alignment of the preschool learning foundations and all the California kindergarten standards that the state put out. With our new knowledge in hand and in mind, we now envision transitional kindergarten here in RUC to be a school readiness program that purposely prepares transitional kindergarten students to be both socially and emotionally ready for the academic rigor of kindergarten and beyond. This vision that we have in mind has guided our work in developing transitional kindergarten standards, which are a continuum again between the preschool learning foundations and the California kindergarten standards. We have drafted transitional kindergarten standards for English language arts and for math at this time. Currently under development with the committee are the social, emotional, and physical development standards that are also aligned to the California Preschool Learning Foundations and the kindergarten standards. We have shared these drafts with school sites to please share with parents, staff, and to please provide us feedback so we can then continue to make any revisions that we feel are necessary to our transitional kindergarten standards. Another one of our tasks, as we mentioned earlier, was to research curriculum materials to support transitional kindergarten. So we had an opportunity to expand the committee. We invited and included one representative from each school site, including Sunshine, to research and recommend a comprehensive curriculum for adoption. In February, the committee had the opportunity to hear presentations and receive sample materials from 4 publishers. Scholastic presented Big Day, McGraw-Hill presented Little Treasures, and Pearson presented Opening the World of Learning, better known as OWL. And Frog Street Press presented their program called Pre-K. After the 4 presentations, we gathered together to further discuss the strengths and the weaknesses of each program. The committee members were then asked to complete a survey to rate each program on a rating scale of 1 to 4, 1 being the best and 4 being the worst, in 10 categories. So I bring before you the survey results. The recommended program selected through this process is Pearson's Opening the World of Learning, OWL. OWL has an overall score of 541, being the least amount, making it the strongest, since it was rated by many as number 1, being the best in several categories. OWL is considered as the best program aligned to the California kindergarten standards and second for its alignment to the California Preschool Learning Foundations. OWL also best supports a full day of instruction and delivers a comprehensive curriculum inclusive of all subject areas, including social, emotional development, and physical development. An area of strength and rated at the top is OWL support for students' math conceptual development. It is also considered to be a strong program for developing the students' language and literacy skills and for supporting students' social emotional growth. It is rated at the top for supporting families and students at home and for providing teachers with online professional development resources beyond the professional development we will be delivering. At this time, Brad and I would like to open up this opportunity for answering any questions you may have.
Mr. Lee, would you like to give the instructional committee any feedback from the instructional committee?
Sure. It was a similar presentation that we just heard, but more in depth. And both Mrs. Cloud and I were really impressed with the process and that they really were committed to the process and trusting those that were on their committee. I was personally really impressed about how they allowed each teacher or each representative from each school to go through all the materials, hear the presentations from the different publishers, then take an anonymous survey basically of what they felt was the best curriculum and the one that they're suggesting for just about every category, as you can see from the numbers, really stood out. They all seem to be on board with this process. And as Brad mentioned at the beginning, this has been something they have been working on since December. And Mrs. Cloud and I have asked questions at every committee about this TK and on the progress. And I feel that this is the direction that we should be going. And I think it's the best way to serve those kids that are coming into our district for the first time for this window of TK kids. And as opposed to sticking them in kindergarten class and leaving it up to the kindergarten teacher to try to figure out which standards to teach. It actually gives a clear outline, and there is professional development that's going to go along with it to help train these teachers in a very short amount of time. So we are expecting a lot from them, but they're all up for the challenge because they've all volunteered for this role, right, as a TK teacher. There was one last thing I was going to say, but it's escaping me.
We'll give you another chance.
Yeah, if it comes to me, I'll mention it. But Mrs. Cloud and I were both in agreement with the recommendation.
Good. Mrs. Lock-Dawson.
I was pleased to hear you say that the comment about some of our kids end up getting a 2-year of kindergarten. My concern was the other way too, when we first starting this as pre-K and TK and how different they are. And it looks like you've given that a lot of thought as well. So that has always been a concern of mine with this program, is differentiating it. And you know, at those ages, they're developmentally so distinct. I know Mr. Lee knows this. Just asking specifically about the OWL program, maybe you could help me. Is there an amount of play and other kind of developmental techniques in there that kids can use that's not just kind of the rote standards, you know, that we start delving out in kindergarten?
The program builds in learning through play daily, where children are given choice, and at the same time learning through teacher choice throughout the day, and it's built in. Like I mentioned, it's comprehensive of all subject areas, taking in mind the best way children learn at this age.
Yeah, just like example, things like, you know, when they're pre-readers, even swinging or rhythm and these kinds of things can
There's
help.
a lot of movement involved every day. Singing and dancing is part of the curriculum.
Okay, that's terrific. That's nice. That's good. And so you liked it Do they have the dad stamp of approval? Okay.
Mr. Lee, you remembered?
Remember, the one concern I remember, at least I brought up, I think Mrs. Cloud too, was since this is something new and different, and I know you've addressed this in the presentation, is just making it clear to parents that why we're doing it, and because I know that at some schools we are still going to have combos just because of the mix of the kids that we get, and we don't want parents one way or the other trying to get their kid in that thinking it's an accelerated program, or if they don't get in it, that it's not an accelerated program. So just making it clear that this is the best thing for their student, is this is the next step before you get to kindergarten, and that they're not missing an opportunity by not being in a combo class or because we're doing something different.
Very good. Very nice committee. I know they worked hard, and they're prestigious, so I will trust them.
And we would continue to work.
Very good.
It's a fantastic.
Yeah, I could tell. I knew there was a lot of those people. Okay, I will entertain a motion. Mr. Lee moves to approve.
I'll second.
And Ms. Lock-Dawson seconds. We'll now vote. And that does pass.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for all your work. That's a lot of work. All right, we are now, we're kind of getting down there, aren't we? Mr. Fine, we are talking about the debt management policy.
Thank you. Good evening, Mrs. Allavie, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. Item I-4 is policy 3470. It is for second reading and adoption. You'll recall it's your last regular meeting that we brought to you revisions to the district's debt management policy. And actually, based on several questions you asked, we are recommending a couple word revision in the second reading that was not present in the first reading, just really to add clarity and readability. And that would be on page 294, specifically section 11, item subparagraph F, other team members. The first reading was a little confusing where we talked about continuing disclosure. There was a continuing disclosure this and a that and so on, and we kind of mixed them together. And so for clarity, I broke those out ever so slightly, and also added two other members of the financing team that we regularly utilize. One is special tax consultant, then continuing disclosure consultant, continuing disclosure review consultant, which are different roles, and a continuing disclosure dissemination agent. And in the first reading, I kind of had those lumped together, and so I broke those out. They could be different parties, and that was actually prompted by, I don't recall if it was Mrs. Lock-Dawson or Mr. Hunt's question, could it be the same party? Caused me to go back and think, no, I need to be clear. They could be separate parties, and I answered it that way that evening, but the way I had it worded, it looked like it was one kind of party, and so broke those out, and also added arbitrage rebate service provider, and that hadn't been in an earlier version, and was prompted by the fact we just filed an arbitrage report a couple days later, and prompted me to go back and look at it.
So
Those would be the changes
change.
between first reading and second
Okay.
reading, middle of 294. Otherwise, recommend, well, not otherwise, recommend the revisions from first reading for your consideration and adoption this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Wrong green button. First of all, with commendation to the staff, and I think you should read Mr. Fine's, when in his report to us, his first paragraph, that I wish, as a citizen of this city, that other government bodies would be as caring and concerned about how they disclose their information as the school district has been, and I commend the staff and Mr. Fine on this, and would move for approval.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Mr. Lee seconds. Is there any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote, please. Okay, that final wording does pass.
Thank you.
And now let's move to resolution of the board for the right-of-way.
Thank you. Item I-5, resolution number 34, 2014-15-34, is a resolution of the board declaring its intention to grant a easement and right-of-way to the city of Riverside for temporary construction easement as they improve the road bed in the, on Lincoln Avenue. Specifically, this is directly in front of the Education Options Center at 6401 Lincoln. It is a temporary easement for construction purposes. Specifically, it deals with the bus turnout that's in front of the school and the need to realign that during construction and use it differently during construction. This will return to you. Easements, whether permanent or temporary, are a two-step process. First, you consider a resolution declaring your intention, notifying everybody of your intention to grant that easement on a piece of public property that you control. And the second step is the actual granting of the easement. So we'll be back at the next board meeting for that second resolution.
Very good. Mr. Hunt?
No, thank you. Mr. Fine just answered the question.
Okay, good. Any further discussion?
I'll move approval.
Mrs. Lock-Dawson moves. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Hunt seconds. Please vote.
When do they intend to start construction on that, Mr. Fine? Do you know?
Mr. Hunt, I don't know. I don't think their schedule was attached, but off the top of my head, this is, I think, a summertime project because it will impact both EOC, impacts 3 campuses, Gage, EOC, and Washington. And so the city's pretty thoughtful around schools about doing that during the off period. And if I recall, it was a July, August project, but I will double check and report back to you.
Good. I was concerned it's going to be a hot mess. And of course, it's all about me and getting my kids to school out there. So I hope it's not during school.
Use Victoria and then they walk.
It's a hot enough mess without that.
Thank you very much. And now we'll have the resolution of the board for the Classified School Employees Week. Mrs. Mills.
Okay, we saved the best for last. Celebrating Classified School Employee Week, May 17th through 23rd. Since CSEA's founding in 1927, members have strived to make their communities aware of classified employees' contribution in public education. Did you know that Governor Ronald Reagan first proclaimed Classified School Employees Week in 1969, stating that the classified employee is proud of his status and the integral part he plays in the total field of education throughout the state of California. Then, in 1984, CSEA members passed a resolution to establish an official resignation week, and a year later it was adopted as a state-sponsored resolution. California's legislation recognizes this important contribution of our classified school employees. And classified school employees played crucial roles in education, from transporting and feeding students to teaching them vital skills and ensuring that students are operating smoothly. Classified employees are integral to public education, so our board and superintendent and district want to recognize our classified employees during the week of May 17th through the 23rd.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Move for adoption.
Thank you. Do I hear a second? Mr. Lee seconds. Let's take a vote on that.
It was Ronald Reagan that said that?
Yes.
We are pleased to pass the resolution. Thank you so much.
I had to look up the history.
Very nice. And now, the California Day of the Teacher.
Staff recommends the Board of Education adopt May 13th, California Day of the Teacher. Thank a teacher. Any of us can thank a teacher who's made a difference in our lives, and now we can make a difference in theirs. Whether it's the 6th grade English teacher who stayed after school to put on a play, or a science teacher whose infectious enthusiasm launched a lifelong passion, or a coach who taught us to never quit, we have an experience that we still appreciate today. So Day of the Teacher is an opportunity to thank a teacher, mentor who has had an impact on our lives and the lives of our students. I know I've always been encouraged to write a note, make a call, or just go up to a teacher and tell them thank you. On behalf of the board, superintendent, and staff, Day of the Teacher is to remind us to do just that.
Thank you. And May 13th happens to be the birthday of my daughter, who is a teacher. It's even better.
You should make the motion.
I will move for approval. Do I hear a second?
I will second in honor of Jim Lehman. Teacher
Okay.
changed my life.
Well, let's vote on that, please. All right, thank you. That does pass the day of the teacher. Thank you, Mrs. Mills.
I have a question, just a question.
Yes.
What do we do? I mean, it's great we just passed this and all that. Do we do anything else on the day of the teacher?
Well, I know in years past, somebody correct me, we've done all sorts of things, haven't we? We've put together little packets and we've taken things to schools and we've done cookies and apples and all sorts of goodies, but.
Thank you, Ms. Mills.
So not to offend anyone, we typically celebrate all employees during the week, and we have gone out and given each one an apple from all of you and from us. We've gone out and taken cookies. Last year we made banners for every school, and we were going to have them take them down and take them out every year, but as we've gone out to the schools, they're still up, so they must have liked them. We've done pins that say RUSD. Can you think of other things? Anyway, we've
yeah, a lot of different things every year.
Thank you.
yeah, and then each individual school and department, they do different individual things.
Yeah. Okay, I've come up with some creative ideas, so that's good. Okay, we are now at the stage of board comments. Mr. Lee, would you like to get us started?
Sure. Seems like it's been a while since we've had a board meeting,
Yeah.
but I don't think it has been that long. I had the opportunity to go with Dr. Hansen. Mrs. Allavie was there too, to Pachapa, and did a tour of that site. And it was fun to visit. One of the classrooms I visited was one of the personalized learning teachers that I visited a year before. So it was neat to see the progression and how she'd kind of changed the model of her classroom and how she worked with different students. So that was fun to get around to all those classes. Everybody commented, the students all commented at the height of Dr. Hansen, without fail, every single classroom.
Yes.
Also had the pleasure to go see Washington Elementary, my alma mater from a long time ago, and toured the DLI classrooms. So again, it was neat to see our most experienced school in dual language immersion and go through the classes and see kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and see what they were doing and the interaction between the teacher and the students interacting with one another. And I remember one particular classroom, the teacher was asking they were doing some sentence structuring in Spanish, and the teacher asked a question, and all the students quickly raised their hand to answer the question. And one student who Spanish was his second language was quick to raise his hand, but then didn't quite have the answer. And all the other students were eager to chime in and help him out, but she wouldn't let him off the hook. And it took him a little while, but he eventually got it. So it was neat to see the grit and determination of some of our students and our teachers holding our kids accountable to give them the opportunity to show off their skills in language. So thank you, Dr. Hansen and staff, for organizing that. And I know I have a couple more coming up this week to see. So I look forward to that too. And that's all for me today.
That's great. Mr. Hunt?
Yeah, just a few things. One of the things I think we're going to need to be aware of, and I know Dr. Lewis is already focused on it, but this is going to be quite a challenge, let alone for the Hunt House, what to do about 25% less water. But if you can imagine all of our campuses, the high schools, of course, have those artificial turf, but what we're going to have to do and the kind of recommendations we need to be looking from Dr. Lewis and Mrs. Calhoun and Mr. Williams coming forward, can be very interesting. I think it's going to be a seminal moment, I believe, in how we look at our campuses going forward, because they're going to make us cut 25% less. They're not going to charge us any less, certainly, but it's going to be very interesting. I wonder if, Mr. Fine, if you could stay just a moment afterwards and just to clarify the email that I thank you for that you sent to Mrs. Lock-Dawson and I about that one issue, if you would, just to help us. And congratulations to you on your recognition of the PTA. I couldn't help but think when I was watching Mr. Fine receive that and pin that on. One of my favorite movies is Mr. Roberts with Henry Fonda when he receives the Order of the Palm from the other guys on the ship. And I think of all the alphabet soups that Mike's belongs to, the Ask and the what they're called, Rasmus and Cascas and all that. He wouldn't trade any of those for the PTA because he always has been student focused. Haley, I wish this had been more in our packet. This is really wherever you are. This is excellent. Just excellent, and I think it drives home the point, and I'll have a continued interest, of the
1,000 almost home, and that includes 220 apartment units. 542 of those proposed new homes will be in my trustee area. I do know that Lake Matthews and Hawthorne are at their max. I also know there's another gentleman proposing and moving forward with a 90 home development right there on La Sierra. So that would bring it up to 650 or so. So it will be a continuing discussion. I wish we didn't have to do it every year. I had a chance, most of us, in fact all of us at this panel, and many out there are friends with Ben Johnson, who's a trustee at Alvord and is this year the president. Ben and I had a cup of coffee Friday morning, and I talked to Ms. Allavie afterwards, and I recommended to Ben that we get our staffs working together towards a joint school board meeting, not just to break bread and talk about how wonderful schools are, but to have our staff recommend to us, the two superintendents, Dr. Salazar and Dr. Hansen and their counterparts, really substantive ways that we can work together in the future. We're still at 2007, I think it is, funding levels, and we don't see a great upturn in that. Perhaps there are things we can do together. I don't ever believe that districts will come together. We're sons of the same mom, but we're raised very differently, and we'll never be one district, and that's fine. But there's things I do believe, particularly as we begin to, just in Tom Hunt's opinion, as we begin to relook at CTE, and perhaps there are things there that we can do together jointly, and as we talk about School of the Arts and all that. So Ben was very receptive, and I asked him to call you, Mrs. Allavie.
Yes, he did.
On that, and I think it's something
We
to look
set up
forward
a tentative meeting on May 11th.
Oh, okay, if you got to be good.
Okay.
But I really would hope we would look at things we can share together, and obviously idea sharing and best practices, but also, you know, concrete items that we might be able to work on. So thank you very much.
Good. Mrs. Lock-Dawson.
Just a few things. I want to thank Haley. You did a really nice job on and you and the consultants on that fee study. I really struggled with that decision, in case you couldn't tell. And I take very seriously that responsibility we have as a board that's like the one fee we levy to people, and you know, it's a big deal for us. So, and I really want to thank you. Really did a really nice job, and I sort of feel like this is probably about the last year that they're going to get it passed, because I have a feeling things are going to move up. But I also want to thank the board for having a very thoughtful discussion about that, and it was very civil, and I appreciate that because you all helped me make up my mind, so thank you. The other thing I just wanted to say was I loved that Arlington did that kindness week. I don't know whose idea that was. It's so neat. Oh, who came up with that? But I think we could all, the children will lead us. I think we could all take a little lesson from that. So anyway, I just wanted to give a shout out to whoever came up with that. The other thing is too, I just also want to reiterate a more serious thing, the pressure that our kids are under in our high schools, and just making sure our district knows about that and how serious it is and some of the implications. There was a child just recently up in the Bay Area that committed suicide. I think there's been 3 within the past 3 years. These kids are pushing themselves beyond anything we ever had to do as high school seniors. And they're killing themselves for these inflated grade point averages and taking tons of APs, I know. And I'm just, I still want them to, I want them to love learning, and I want them to do well, but I also, they are not numbers to me. They are children. They are our kids. They still need our support, and they still need to know that they're okay even if they're not a 4 or 5 or whatever. And I'm pleased to know that next year we're going to be getting a number of counselors in both mental and social, and emotional health, as well as guidance counselors. So I just always want to keep that in mind, having just gone through a very tough year with my senior, who, thank God, has now been accepted to a school that she wants to go to and all that other stuff. But it's been a tough year, watching her friends go through it. So I think just reminding everybody of that. So
Yeah,
I'll close with that.
I agree.
Thank you.
I concur. I would like to ask a question of staff. I need to keep on this topic of whether our children are getting adequate information about places to go where they could get good health advice, especially for sexually transmitted diseases or maybe unwanted pregnancies. And I want to confirm with staff that what I have been told is that the only information they're getting is a 50-minute PE period during 9th grade. So I would really like to have some feedback about exactly what our middle school and high school kids do receive in terms of that kind of information. It would help me a lot. I've been trying to get comparative information from other school districts, and it sounds like we're a little light, but I don't know for sure, so I would really appreciate that information. And second of all, I would like to continue to recommend to staff, I've been collecting articles on bullying. I do believe that maybe something about bullying, a workshop maybe is warranted, or that topic, because what I'm starting to see are articles where they're holding school districts liable, or rather they're talking as though school districts are liable for bullying behavior that doesn't even actually occur during the school day. And I think that we need to be on top of that and maybe make sure that our policies are squared away on that. Yes. Yes. And I've been collecting articles so we can talk about it. And then I'm going to read you a quote which I found from Fareed Zakaria, who is a reporter for the Washington Post. He writes, "Americans should be careful before they try to mimic Asian educational systems, which are oriented around memorization and test taking. I went through that kind of system. It has its strengths, but it's not conducive to thinking, problem solving, or creativity. Since 1964, when the first international exam was administered to 13-year-olds in 12 countries, America has lagged behind its peers, rarely rising above the middle of the pack and doing particularly poorly in science and math. And yet, over these past 5 decades, that same laggard country has dominated the world of science, technology, research, and innovation. America overcomes its disadvantage, a less technically trained workforce, with other advantages such as creativity, creative thinking, critical thinking, and optimistic outlook." I thought that was a good quote. Yeah. Now I will adjourn the meeting in honor of some very important people who have passed away. First, Mr. Jacob Tony Jujonkir, who passed away on March 22nd. He was a former woodshop, metal shop, and drafting teacher at Shamawa Middle School and math teacher at Central Middle School for many years. For Mr. Michael Ortega, who passed away on March 22nd, he worked for RUSD for nearly 22 years and was currently an M&O Special Maintenance Worker 1. And for Arlington High School junior, Roberta Garcia, who was tragically killed in an accident near the Galleria on the 91 freeway on March 23rd. And I adjourn in their memory.